Good evening, I'm Sarah Ranero. I'm Managing Director at the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, and I am meant to kick us off here and get us going. I've been on the board of directors for, well, since 2018, and man, it's been a whirlwind. It's gone by really quick. I'd like to give a shout out to my predecessors during my tenure, so Devon and Kristen Trevelyan, who's not here with consumers tonight. Lots of expertise in the room here. I've been mostly trying to keep up with everyone on the board. My day job at the state is really business development and community development activities on the west side here. So constantly advocating for good deals and good projects here in West Michigan, but mainly just trying to keep up with everyone that has a lot more knowledge and expertise in all things green, including the folks in the room tonight. So we have a really dynamic set of professionals here, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be involved with the board the last handful of years. What I'd like to do next is I'd like to introduce our incoming board chair as well as the board of directors, and then hand it off to Sherry. So I want to just talk just a brief second about Ryan. If Ryan could stand. Ryan Musk, thank you. Incoming board chair. So please give Ryan a round of applause. Thank you, Ryan. Your civil engineering background has spanned 17 years at Fishbeck. Again, expertise. We're excited to have you coming on to the board, and I look forward to you transitioning in. I want to go through the rest of the team. So John, I don't know where you are, John Rumer, thank you, with Ignite Design, has been serving as our secretary. Peter Scornia with Sella Building Company has been serving as our treasurer. Andrew Longcore, who's our general counsel, I don't believe he's here tonight. David Renard, our retired gift from Steelcase. Thank you, David. Ana Jose with Michigan Women Forward. Lisa Beering with Consumers Energy. Got a table somewhere. Where are they? Yeah, right in front of me. Jeff Groth with Train Technologies. We've got the train table. Thank you, Jeff. And then Devon Miller, last but not least, with Western Michigan University. Thank you. Next, I'd like to welcome Sherry Holman, Executive Director of the USGBC of West Michigan. Sherry's been leading. Yes, let's give Sherry a round of applause. We would not be here without Sherry. Sherry's been leading the USGBC on the west side here since 2015, serving on the board of directors as well as a chairperson on the board. She created Battle of the Buildings in 2014 as a volunteer, and due to this huge success of the program, she left her job as energy director. It's not the wine. Yeah. She left her job as energy director for a large mechanical contractor and accepted the role of executive director for USGBC West Michigan. And we're very privileged and honored to have Sherry leading the ship here. Under her leadership, we've grown to 4 full-time dedicated staff and 1 part-time intern. I'd like to recognize Wendy, Kayla, Allie, and all their efforts here to get us this evening, and look forward to a stellar event. Thank you so much. Sherry?
Thank you. Hello. Good afternoon, good evening. I'm so glad to see you all here for another year of celebration of the U.S. Green Building Council of West Michigan. Let's see here. First of all, the team, and thank you, Sarah, for acknowledging them. I just want to say that the end of the year is an extremely busy time for us as our team prepares not only for this event, but our annual report, along with all our other daily duties that we have year-round. And I couldn't be more blessed with a passionate team. I've talked about them to several people here tonight. So I'd like to just introduce them because they deserve to be recognized. All of this is because of them. I literally showed up at the last minute. So they pull this together. So Kayla Snyder, our program manager. Ali Bashori, our communications manager. And Wendy Berg, our event and membership manager. This is one amazing female power team. So I'm going to start right off with sponsorships because they are the reason that we exist, and we are so incredibly grateful to our sponsors. So let me call out our visionary sponsors first. I'll just whip them off. We can kind of clap by slide. How's that? So our visionary sponsors are DTE, Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy, Consumers Energy, and the Wege Foundation. All right, platinum sponsors this year: Ignite, Vicinity, John Ball Zoo, Fishbeck, Train, Hedrick, and Foresight, and many of them are in the room tonight, so thank you so much. To our gold sponsors, Catalyst Partners, the Center for Energy and Environment. I know they're there because I just saw you walk through. Quality Air and DBHMS. Thank you. And silver supporters, Steelcase, Tower Pinkster, Kendall College of Art and Design, Sella Building, Hayworth, Meyer, Subterra Renewables, and Western Michigan University. And last but not least, our supporters, Grand Valley State University and Builders Exchange of Michigan. All right, so our mission, for those who don't know it, is to transform the way that buildings and communities are designed, built, and operated that in a way that improves life, the quality of life in Michigan. So I'm gonna get right down to business, give you kind of the state of the organization. We're operating on a $773,000 budget this year. It's about the same as last year. It's been pretty consistent the last few years. So I'd say, so you can see from our income side, our grants and our sponsorships are primarily how we're funded. Our sponsorships have been gaining steam every single year. We increased 20% in 2024. In 2023, we increased our sponsorships by 25% in 2023. 2022, I don't know if I said those right, but you get what I mean. So what I'm trying to say is you guys are vital to the existence of this organization, and we appreciate you more than you know. So thank you. Memberships are a smaller sliver, but important as well. And most of our events are pretty much cost neutral. On the expense side, I think it's pretty much what you would expect. We spend most of our budget on our talented team. The rest, the other 2/3, we spend on our programming, so Battle and 2030 District and some of our smaller programs. And we only spend about 11% on our operating expenses. So I'm very proud of that, and I think that we're keeping it tight. We're a great, very strong local green building organization, and we have about a year of reserves. So I think we're doing good, and we're happy to just keep on going as long as you all have us. So thank you. So we're reaching about 5,300 people a week on our newsletter. We've got a 33% open rate. From what I hear, that's pretty good across the industry, so people are liking what we're putting out. And our website gets a pretty good amount of traffic at we got about 32,000 website visits in 2023. So something new that kind of happened during the pandemic is that we started doing all this learning over the internet, right? Webinars, short videos, things like that. So we've been able to reach 25,000 people that not in person. So it's kind of like a whole new avenue for us that we're keeping going. We saw a 9.3% increase in our YouTube subscribers this last year. There still could be more. So if all of you will go home and follow us on YouTube, we would love to have you there. So schools are back this year, something that we didn't do for a couple of years, and we were able to talk to 5 different schools this year. We were able to do a scholarship with Green Home Institute for 1 student to get their LEED GA, and thank you to Train for supplying 8 tickets to our Michigan Energy Summit for students last year. So thank you. All right, so what's new news in kind of building certifications? Just wanted to point out that ASHRAE 227 went public comment for passive building design standard recently. Energy Star is putting out a new next-gen certification that's in development right now. They'll be recognizing buildings not only for energy efficiency, but for carbon reduction as well. We're really happy to see the EPA and the DOE really ramping up with new tools. Seems as though they're well-funded and can help us meet this clean energy transformation that we have embarked into. So LEED V5 rolled out for anybody who was in Greenbuild this year. They rolled that out at Greenbuild. It is taking a significant step to addressing decarbonization of buildings. They've restructured the rating system that will prioritize the way that project teams are rewarded. And for anyone who's going to be in Chicago next week, and I'll just say, FYI, if you are going to be in Chicago next week, I got an email today that the location of this event actually changed. It's still in Chicago, but at a different building. I just wanted to call that out because I couldn't change the slide because they actually gave us that slide. So I want to just say, too, that Lana Kraus, for those of you who don't know her from USGBC out of DC, is here with us tonight. So if you have any questions on LEED V5, look her up. I don't know where she's at, but maybe you can, there she is. All right, so Battle, the Biggest Loser styled energy reduction competition for non-residential buildings, will be celebrating 10 years next year in 2024 at the Michigan Energy Summit. And just to talk about, so our last full year was 2022. We had 269 million square feet across the state competing in Battle. And overall, they reduced 12,000 metric tons of carbon and saved $2.9 million. And admittedly, I will say that that is lower than what we've seen in the past, and I think we are still rebounding from the pandemic a little bit, getting kind of the new normal of what goes on in some of our buildings. So it wasn't our best year of savings, but I think that we'll see a lot better next year. But overall, since Battle first started in 2014, we have awarded 92 first-place awardees. They have avoided 500,000 metric tons of carbon, and they have put $93 million back into the local economy. Pretty awesome. So like I said, next year at the summit is our 10-year anniversary, and we'll have one more year of data. So my personal goal is to get to 100 million in savings for our 10-year anniversary. So let's see if we do it. Okay, let's see here. So MES. So last year's theme at the Michigan Energy Summit, which is celebrating the Michigan Battle of the Buildings, was to create opportunity through decarbonization. In the spirit, we awarded 9 buildings last year and 2 EV projects, which was something new for us. So mark your calendars for our 10-year anniversary, May 8th at the JW Marriott. Hope to see you there. That will be this coming May. Also, our 3rd year of the Detroit Energy Challenge, and for those of you who don't know, this is our sub-competition, if you will, awarding buildings that are in battle but inside of Detroit. It's a great partnership with our Detroit 2030 district, and we're looking forward to doing that again in June. That'll be their 3rd one. All right, let's talk about the 2030 district for a minute. Our network continues to grow. Michigan is a true leader with 3 districts, Ann Arbor, Detroit, and Grand Rapids. And actually, news from Ann Arbor is they extended their district to include all of Washtenaw County this year. So they are growing. Oh, I should be on this slide for you to see. There's 619 million square feet involved in 2030 districts across the country. And you see there that we have 3 districts. Let's see here. So another news along with Washtenaw, along with Ann Arbor, including Washtenaw, Detroit just passed an energy benchmarking ordinance last month. So they'll be ramping up for that in 2024. I think that's covering 100,000 square feet and above for the first year. And on the 2nd year, they're planning 25,000 square feet and above. So stay tuned for that. All right, the Grand Rapids 2030 district first launched at the end of 2015. This program is committed to creating partnerships of owners, professional partners, utilities, and government. We received a national jump start in the 2030 district when we were selected to participate in the Zero Cities project back in 2017. And today we continue that work in partnership with the City of Grand Rapids and the Urban Core Collective in our local version called the Equitable Healthy Zero Carbon Initiative, EH0, for those of you who are familiar. And I'm supposed to be flipping slides, but I forgot, so we'll just kind of jump along here. Let's see here. All right, so I want to thank all the members who have been involved in some of the committees that we've been working on through the Grand Rapids 2030 district this year. The CCAT, which is the Commercial Advisory Team, organized by the city, identifies priorities that are developing programs and policies that result in lower emissions across our built environment. Members have also been working together with Kayla leading on a local guide to lower building emissions and pull resources together, so stay tuned for that in 2024. Let's see here, and among the many things that the 2030 district is doing, most recently this work has, or not just the 2030 district, but EH0 has resulted in a greenhouse gas emissions inventory, which Alison is going to talk about shortly and dive a little deeper into that. So, automated energy benchmarking. Data is so critical to decision making. The CCAT has identified data as a key barrier and one that we must solve. Through new partnerships that we've formed with Consumers Energy and DTE, we are working to upload data directly into Energy Star Portfolio Manager from the utility. While we are making progress, the data still lags about 45 days after, and it does need some oversight. So I want to call out Josh. I don't know if you're here. I know you're supposed to be here, but I hope you showed up because you have been an amazing partner at Consumers Energy. There he is, helping us to do benchmarking. But seriously, like, he is just one guy. He's doing it all on Consumers. So that's how, we still have a long ways to go to get to where we need to be. So to help meet demand, the USGBC of West Michigan is going to offer in 2024 a new premium membership that will include benchmarking your buildings. This will be for building owners and managers that want like a concierge approach to energy benchmarking. Basically, just hand us the keys and we'll manage your battle deadlines as well as compliance with any ordinances in Ann Arbor or Detroit and maybe Grand Rapids, we'll see. And we will also provide you an annual energy and carbon analysis to help your business make data-driven decisions. We're also, as part of that, we're expecting an online self-audit tool, which will be awesome for small businesses. And Detroit is piloting that now. So stay tuned for that coming in 2024 as well. So in closing, I am extremely happy to have former Mayor Hartwell here with us, accepting our gratitude and adoration of his time as mayor. He helped us launch the Grand Rapids 2030 district and has so many other accomplishments that I'm sure many of you are aware of, and you will be hearing more about that from Kayla shortly. So we are here tonight to award the best of the best, and I just want to thank everybody for shaping Michigan and making it a thriving state for us to live, work, and play. So thank you. All right, and before I go, I have the honor of introducing my colleague and friend, Alison Sutter. It is my honor to welcome Alison Waske Sutter as our next speaker tonight. Many of you in this room already know Alison and have worked with her in some capacity, but for those of you who don't, I will tell you just a little bit more about her, and I will let you know that she is an absolute force in this community. Alison joined the City of Grand Rapids as a sustainability manager in September of 2017. With over 15 years of experience in the sustainability field and a licensed attorney, Alison also manages the performance of the city's strategic plan. Alison is focused on developing a comprehensive energy plan for the city, which will include strategies for the city to meet its 100% renewable energy goal by 2025, as well as other mechanisms to engage community stakeholders in steep energy and carbon reduction. In her free time, Alison enjoys, as if there is any, just gotta point that out. Alison enjoys hiking and exploring nature with her husband, sons, and dog. She also loves eating food prepared with local ingredients, whether from one of our fantastic local restaurants or her talented husband. Please welcome Alison to the stage.
She told me she's going to drink my wine. That's all right. She's paying for it. All right. Well, welcome this evening. I'm so excited to be here and am honored to have the opportunity to speak with all of you tonight at what I really think is one of the best events that's hosted in the U.S. Green Building Council team. I just want to acknowledge you guys do a phenomenal job, particularly with Sherry's leadership in this space. It's been something where I've had the honor to partner with her now for a solid 6 years that I've been employed at the city, but even before that, when I was working for other organizations in the community, could already see the wonderful work that the U.S. Green Building Council is doing in Grand Rapids, and I'm so grateful for your leadership and your partnership and the work you're doing. I also have the honor of acknowledging Mayor Hartwell, who is in the audience, and I know Sherry has done that, and there will be some more acknowledging later, but I believe most of you probably know, but the journey of the municipal government entity really got started with Mayor Hartwell's leadership in 2005, and I tell people across the country, we were one of the first communities at a government level to embrace sustainability to the way that we did and implement it, and to work alongside partners in our community who were in the academic setting and who were in the business setting, who felt as strongly about sustainability and the triple bottom line back at that time that the city did. And through the tremendous partnerships that Mayor Hartwell led with community members really got us started on our way. So much gratitude to you for your leadership in this space. Of course, Mayor Bliss has been with us for some time and continues to carry that mantle, and her passion for sustainability and climate change continues, and she had the opportunity to serve as 10 years as a commissioner when Mayor Hartwell was mayor, and our city manager, Washington, I also wanted to acknowledge as a very big advocate for sustainability and the climate justice work that we've been doing. So I wanted to spend some time today, spoke to Sherry, and thinking about some remarks that I would share with you. You are the experts in the built environment and in this space. I had the opportunity when my undergraduate degree is in architecture, and I had the opportunity to intern with William McDonough and Partners. I won't say the date, but it was now over 2 decades ago that I had that opportunity. It was before LEED was created. And he was really the one who set me on my path to wanting to pursue a career in sustainability. And the idea that business could be more successful on traditional business metrics while proceeding and working through sustainability. And I always loved, if you've ever seen any of his writing, that he often refers to wanting to design buildings that are like trees. And I love this notion. This is a picture, don't take it literally. I just kind of found a quick picture online, and I know some in the audience are designers, and I fully respect your design talents, but I wasn't intending for this to be literal. But what I really like was the idea of the fact that he said buildings were like trees. And I think that we are at a moment in time where it is important to reflect upon the power of our built environment, right? And with power comes the opportunity to be a force for good, as our B Corp folks would say, but also has the power to also be somewhat destructive, right? There are those equal sides to the power that you have. And this idea and this notion of buildings being like trees, right, are that buildings can generate more energy than they use. They should be able to take gray water and brown water systems and produce potable water, generating clean air for those that are using the building as well as those in the community. Obviously, they provide shelter. Another key area is safety, which is very important and of importance to a large number of people in our community. And also, buildings are connected to other buildings throughout our communities. There's an ecosystem of buildings that is important. No one building has an impact that is singular in the sense of one building. And I think that this is something that is beautiful and speaks to the power and the opportunity that all of you who are stakeholders in the built environment have. And that's what I'm going to spend a little bit of time on. But I do, as I noted, want to call out, and I'm not going to belabor this point because I truly believe most of you are fully aware of most of this information. But as I mentioned, 2 sides to the coin of power, and buildings, unfortunately, can be equally as destructive as they can be beneficial. We have, right, most of you know, we spend 90% of our time inside buildings, right? I'm an environmental lawyer by trade. Pretty much the majority of laws that we've passed in this country have to do with environmental pollutants that are happening in the environment, external to buildings. But we spend 90% of our time inside buildings, right? And those buildings are super important. If the tenants don't have access to natural light, that has significant impacts on your productivity as well as your well-being, right? We know that our built environment can help support inclusive, accessible, and safe spaces where people feel comfortable entering and transacting, whether it's somewhere that you live, somewhere you play, worship, or somewhere that you work. And those are things that buildings have the power to create for us as human individuals. In addition, when we broaden that and we think about a neighborhood basis and we think about a community basis, our buildings are a huge component of our culture and the fabric of our community. And buildings have this amazing ability, right? They last beyond the majority of our lifetime and help instill in community culture and what that means and the importance of culture for us. But if we're not careful and we're not mindful of the culture, of the fabric of those neighborhoods when we're developing, it can also be quite destructive. I hope many of you are familiar with redlining and understanding the impacts that our built environment has had on creating racial disparities in our community. And that is something that exists, and we're at a point in time where we can acknowledge that, and we can work to right those wrongs and put things in place and start to dismantle those systems that have created those negative disparities, predominantly for our residents that are people of color. Lastly, of course, we're here and we know climate change is a big area, and our built environment has a significant contribution, as you'll see by some of the data that I'm going to share, to greenhouse gas emissions. Right? I think you're in the industry and you know that, and we're aware that this is a significant source. Not only in the operation of a building, which I think a lot of people think about and we're accustomed to, right? 12 months of energy data, how much are you consuming, what are the emissions associated with it? But the amount of embodied carbon included in the materials that are going into the construction of the buildings that many of you design and construct is enormous, and has a huge impact on the total amount of emissions that we have in our communities. And then I also just wanted to touch on the fact that buildings are places where we seek shelter in a time of crisis, right? Extreme weather events. Where do you go? You need to go somewhere where you can be safe from the elements. You need to go somewhere where you can have access to potable water and warmth and protection from elements. We go to our built spaces. And those buildings need to be prepared and operated in a manner that can be thinking about what happens when we have those significant severe weather events, right? Our built environment also causes a lot of the problems. All of the non-porous surfaces that we have are generating flooding problems that are happening throughout all of our, that are happening predominantly in Grand Rapids and many communities when we have significant precipitation events. Right? Or even if it's a polar vortex, as we've experienced, or extreme heat. Buildings need to support and sustain us as people in those instances. And it has the opportunity to do that well or to not do that well. So I was kind of joking with some folks. For those of you that know me, I have 2 young boys, and we've been very into Harry Potter lately. And so we just watched the first movie. And as I was preparing for these remarks tonight, I was thinking about how they were referring to Voldemort, right, and his power. And he had so much power. And the idea was he had the power to either be a force for good or to not be a force for good. And as I mentioned, I think that that's where we are. And with respect to our built environment, right, if we are consumed merely with financial success, without the regard for anything else, and understanding how our built environment has these significant impacts on individual health, on community health, on the culture and the fabric of what makes a city great and wonderful, where employers want to come and where people want to live, right? These things are all inextricably intertwined. Safety, they're dependent upon each other. And we have the opportunity, and sometimes each of us may work in an individual single building, right? But I also want to emphasize that the time is upon us where we can no longer just think about our single individual building, or even if your business has a collection of 15 buildings, right? We need to be thinking across a community how the buildings are working together. We're developing an ecosystem to be prepared for those extreme weather events, and how we work together to protect our community and to be prepared and to successfully reduce emissions. And I think that most of you, as I know and I think about in the design industry and in the construction industry, we have the opportunity to leave a legacy with our buildings, with beautiful buildings like this building. And we have the opportunity to think about what legacy do you want to leave with this building and the impacts that it will have on the people that are in the building today, but in the future as well. And so I just want to say that I'm super excited because I really believe that many of you are excited and passionate about creating those legacy of buildings that have those positive benefits on people and community and the environment. We've been on a journey. Many of you in this room have been on the journey together with me, many before me who paved a pathway and allowed me to enter onto a path that had already been established in our community. And I'm excited to continue to share that path with folks, and I invite many of you to join in on that path with me as well. So to kind of get down to share a little bit of the data on this and that journey that I hope it inspires you and helps you be informed about opportunities to join into that journey. If you're not familiar with the city of Grand Rapids, and I quite frankly did not have a very good understanding of how municipal government works before I joined the city, but a few things that I think are super important and apply a lot to our built environment. We're an income tax city. That means our city derives the majority of our revenue from income taxes. That means we work very hard to bring employers to our community and to have residents live in our community, because that helps us from that perspective to be financially sustainable. And of course, there's a housing crisis that's not unique to Grand Rapids. That's happening all over the United States at this point in time. So there's a very large focus on housing. Larger scale housing, but also 4-unit style housing that's taking place in our community. And all different types of housing is needed, but there's also a severe lack of affordable housing that is needed, and something that's very important with respect to the built environment that we have here in Grand Rapids. We have a lot of different boards and commissions. If you're not familiar, we have a planning commission, and they make a lot of decisions that impact our built environment. As well, of course, we have a lot of different departments, and those of you who might be in the design and construction or operation of buildings are probably very familiar with our development center and a lot of the services that they provide to help support those who wish to build buildings or make major renovations to buildings in our community. I think 2 other important statistics that I like to share just to make sure everybody, as we think about our community and what makes up Grand Rapids and our built environment, over 40% of our residents in Grand Rapids are people of color. And that is something that we have been very intentional about and thinking about in leading with and ensuring that when we're doing this work, it is representative and reflective of our community and the demographics of our community. And if you didn't know, Sherry mentioned the Zero Cities Project, and we had the opportunity to do a lot of analysis on our building sector. It was very surprising to me, but more than 50% of the square footage of the built environment in Grand Rapids is single-family residential. That means 4 units or less is how we defined that. Right? That's very different than a Chicago and a New York and other big cities that are doing amazing things and that I like to make sure I understand. But we have a lot of single-family residential in our community, and that's important to keep in mind as we think about climate change and how we're addressing it. And then we also have a large chunk at 17%, which is multifamily. So a significant portion of our built environment in Grand Rapids is residential. And I always like to say, because people will say, oh, Ann Arbor's doing amazing things. And my colleague, Missy in Ann Arbor, I love her, she's great. We work together a lot, right? But I always hesitate and help people understand why it's important for us to be thoughtful about who we compare ourselves to, right? Whether it's an Ann Arbor, a Traverse City, an Austin, Texas, a Berkeley, California. And there are things that I have learned that when somebody says, check out this great policy or this great program, I think it would be awesome for Grand Rapids. And the 3 questions that I ask are, well, are they a cold weather climate, right? That's great. Berkeley they've basically banned gas and they're electrifying. Well, I venture to guess that 95% of their energy consumption was electricity to start with, right? It's a little different than what is happening in Grand Rapids and the significant natural gas infrastructure that we have here as a cold weather climate. Second, in the state of Michigan, a local municipality like the city does not have the authority to require energy efficiency and energy performance beyond that which the state regulates under the building code, right? Chicago, other big cities have their own energy codes, and they can be more progressive if they wish than their state. But all across the state of Michigan, we are prohibited from doing anything above and beyond what is established in the Michigan building codes. And then the third, I asked, does that jurisdiction have their own municipal utility or a co-op of that nature? Because those are run differently, understandably, based on the business structure than a privately owned utility, right? One has the demand of growing revenue for shareholders, and another is based on being a municipal-run utility and has the opportunity to work perhaps faster if they are so inclined and make the policy decision for reduced energy efficiency investments, renewable investments, et cetera. And so there's a lot happening in this space as we think about what opportunities do we have in Grand Rapids to really help tackle the climate crisis here in Grand Rapids. And I do just want to take a minute to say that, right, we have a lot of people working at the state that are great partners, and it's very complicated, right? I had my list of Michigan agencies, all the way from EGLE, the governor's office, MDHHS, MISHDA, MPSC, Laura does the building codes, right? And I get it, we're a government too, it's hard, it's bureaucratic, we're siloed, and the same is true for the state. And there are a lot of different agencies that have recognized the importance of the built environment, particularly when it comes to climate change and the opportunities. And we're trying to help everybody come together to make sure that we're leveraging as much funding and opportunity to address not only bringing down carbon emissions, making sure that those that are owners and operators are able to do so in a financially sustainable way, you know, health implications, environmental conservation, et cetera. And then, of course, our utility partners have made some phenomenal commitments as well and are continuing to do that work too. So a couple things that I just wanted to share here with respect to our, Sherry mentioned, we did a greenhouse gas emissions inventory. And this is based on 2019 data, and it's looking at the entire community, the city of Grand Rapids, and all of the emission sources that we have across our community. So when you see here, this particular table is breaking down emissions related to our fuel source. So electricity is at the top, natural gas, you can see, and gasoline. Now, a lot of things are going to change if we continue to electrify our fleet. Gasoline will go down, electricity will go up. Opportunities that we have to electrify our buildings, natural gas will go down, electricity will go up, right? And then depending on the electric utility, in our case, Consumers Energy's portfolio for how they're generating electricity will dictate the amount of emissions that are associated with our electricity consumption. And then if we start to look at the emissions based across the different types of segments of our society and where we're generating the largest source of emissions, not too much difference in comparison to other communities across the country. Some differences, but by and large, pretty similar. Transportation is the #1 segment in terms of the amount of goods and people that we move throughout our community, across our community, is enormous. And that is the #1 sector responsible for emissions right now, or based on 2019 for Grand Rapids. The second, and this was a little surprising to me, but it makes me think back to the comment that I made about the largest amount of square footage in our community is single-family residential. So residential energy is responsible for the second largest amount. Now I do want to make a note here, this category of residential energy does include the smaller single family as well as the multifamily. And then third was industrial. And that was definitely a surprise. My first thought was cannabis, right? We did all this work on cannabis and grow facilities, and they're known to be enormous users of electricity. But we hadn't passed all of our ordinances in 2019, and those grow facilities weren't up and running yet. So that was not what was driving the industrial emissions. And so we've been digging into this a little bit more, and I still have some further research to do in terms of these categories are based on the utilities when they provided us information and data for the total amount of energy being consumed by sector. This is based on rate codes. So those of you that have an industrial rate code, you would be falling into the industrial energy emissions sector. And then the last part here, I know the slide's a little small, but I'll make these available for anybody who's interested in seeing this. When we dig into the details a little bit more and look at the subcategories, so gasoline and transportation is #1. #2 is the electricity being consumed by industrial facilities. I will note Vicinity is our urban steam provider, and they are included in the industrial numbers, right? So they are procuring energy to operate as a steam district, and that's counted as industrial, although they are, then in turn are predominantly serving large commercial buildings in the urban core. 3 and 4 would be the energy being consumed by residential, both electricity and gas. 5 goes back to industrial, looking at natural gas. And it's not, or excuse me, and then 6 is diesel. And it's not until we get to 7 that we actually get to commercial buildings. And that was also very interesting. And so I think that that's something to be aware of, and that is significantly the emissions associated with commercial buildings are coming from our natural gas consumption. So with that, what are we doing? And what are some of the things that we're doing? I'm not sure. Okay, I can get this back. Those are all the slides I had. That might be the shortest amount of slides I've ever had for a presentation. But also with this emissions inventory, it was recommended to us by ICLEI, the national organization that conducts these on behalf of municipal entities, that we should have a science-based target. And that science-based target essentially is 63% emissions reductions per capita. So if we continue to grow, which thankfully Grand Rapids is doing very well, and we are growing, but that is the goal that's established for us to achieve 63% reduction by 2030. Right, what does that mean? I think that's really hard to understand. Our state has a goal, the federal government has a goal, globally we have goals, and a few things that I'll say about goals. I'm a goal-oriented person. I think they're really important. I think when you establish audacious goals, it stretches you and you achieve more than you thought that you would have achieved, or perhaps in the absence of a goal. But I also want to be real that I don't see us collectively as a society hitting most of these goals by the established 2030 deadline, right? So what does that mean? I think that means we need to be really thinking about adaptation. And we know in a study that we've done for Grand Rapids, the science is showing what's gonna happen. It's gonna be hotter, it's gonna be wetter, and we're gonna have more extreme weather events. So how are we ensuring that our businesses are prepared for that our homes are prepared for that, and that our community is prepared for that? And that's really important and something to be thinking about. So a few other things I think that I'm gonna share in terms of wrapping up. Sherry mentioned we have a CCAT, which I just wanna go back to and re-emphasize. That is our large commercial climate advisory team. And we define that as buildings that are 10,000 square feet or larger across our community. Because some of our early preliminary studies showed that large commercial buildings, while making up less than 2% of all the building square footage in our community, were responsible for on the order of 40% of all of the emissions coming from the building sector. So I know a few of you are here, but if you are on and serve on the CCAT, I would love for you to stand up, whether you're staff or one of our community members, so that we can recognize we've been working to have a very diverse group, come on, stand up, a very diverse group of commercial building stakeholders that can be working with us and thinking through what we can do. In this team, I do want to call out Jen Spiller. Did you stand up, Jen? Jen needs to stand up. She is the main city staff person who is leading this work. I'm so grateful for the work that she is doing in this space. But the goal of this work in collaboration with these partners is to identify what can we do as a community to equitably decarbonize our building sector, right? That's like a whole mumbo jumbo of words. But it essentially means what are we doing to try to meet these goals in our large commercial building sector, and what opportunities do we have to meet those goals? And there are a lot of variety of them. And there are only a few that I'm gonna call out, but just to give you a sense of the breadth of what we're trying to think about, and recognizing we all have limited resources, and where does it make best sense for us to lean in, engage, and really try to drive these changes. I mentioned the building codes, so that's something at the state level we've been really involved in. If you're not familiar, we're currently undergoing our community master plan, which is a 20-year plan that establishes the vision for what a community wants to be 20 years from now, which of course, land use planning has a significant impact on our buildings, where the buildings go, what type of buildings can go where. So that's very important. I encourage you to engage in that if you're interested. Looking at economic development incentives, right? People want to come to Grand Rapids. Businesses are coming here. They want to be here. This is a great place to be. Sarah knows this. She mentioned she's an MEDC, right? So how are we leveraging when we have the ability to provide economic development incentives to say, this comes with you being solar ready, being EV ready, committing to a certain amount of renewables, right? Those are some of the different types of things. And Sherry mentioned energy benchmarking and transparency. That essentially requires buildings of a certain size and type to submit their data, so that we can understand and collectively have real data to be making decisions on and be data informed. So I know Detroit just passed theirs, and I'm a competitive person, so we're already, thinking about that and leaning in, and that's something that we've been evaluating at the CCAT as well. Lastly, I just want to also note that career development and green entrepreneurism is something that is very important, and I know that Dr. Brandy Brown is going to speak about that. So she is the expert in that space, but that is something that you know, our community, particularly Miss Siney here, Miss Siney Jordan. If you don't know her, I recommend you get to know her. You know, what are we doing to help support our small, local, minority-owned businesses in our community as we're designing, constructing, and operating buildings in our community? So with that, I just wanted to close by saying there are a couple things that are going to be happening in early 2024. If you want to continue to engage in this conversation with the city as a partner, we will be doing a deeper dive into the emissions inventory results that will be coming out. And the CCAT that I mentioned, we will be hosting a broader kind of engagement to dive into what are some of the strategies that we are looking to include in our climate plan and to propose to our city leadership that we think are the best strategies to equitably decarbonize the buildings that we have in our community. And so would love for you to keep an eye out for that, and as that time comes around, perhaps in March, that you have the opportunity to kind of explore and dig in what those community partners have recommended and identified and advised the city as some of the key avenues to really tackle these issues and address this. So with that, I just want to close by saying that I think that, as I mentioned, buildings have a significant opportunity to be a force for good. I think our buildings can help support health, regeneration, creativity, culture, financial success, right? Can help address climate change, can help address ensuring that we are protecting the natural resources that we love and know drive a significant amount of tourism in our state, and plenty of other reasons that buildings can be a phenomenal space for us to improve the quality of life that we have here in Grand Rapids. And I look forward to continuing to work with all of you on that journey. And welcome, if you haven't been on it yet, to reach out to Sherry or myself, because we would love to partner with you and see what you're thinking and what you're doing, because you guys have a lot of great ideas and things you're doing as well. So appreciate having the opportunity to speak with you today. And I think I'm going to turn it back over to Wendy now. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Allison, for that informative presentation. Thank you. We're so glad that you were able to be here this evening. Thank you. Okay, so next, I would like to introduce Dr. Brandy Brown. Dr. Brown serves as the Chief Innovation Officer of Walker Miller Energy Services, the premier Detroit-based energy services B Corp focused on equity in the clean energy economy. In this role, Brandy leads the innovation team and is responsible for guiding the development of advanced energy projects, workforce development, and equitable mobility solutions. Prior to joining Walker Miller, Dr. Brown served as Climate and Energy Advisor within the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy. In that role, she headed the Office of Climate and Energy and was responsible for developing the policy and implementation strategy for statewide decarbonization efforts, coordinating state departments on climate action, providing guidance to local governments, and advancing renewable energy throughout Michigan. Additionally, Dr. Brown is honored to serve as part of the Environmental Justice faculty for the University of Michigan School for Environment and Sustainability, and as an appointee to Michigan's National Resources Trust Fund Board. Please welcome Dr. Brandy Brown to the stage.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm so glad to be with you today, back on my home side of the state of West Michigan. I'm originally from Kalamazoo, and I'm a Bronco. And so it's always, anytime I get the chance to come back and see my people and my family, I jump at it. So thank you for the invitation, Sherry, and thank you for the entire team for all of the work you do. Now, as Wendy stated, I'm the Chief Innovation Officer at Walker Miller Energy Services, and that includes everything under the sun. So my mission there is to figure out, how do we equitably increase access to what we know about what we need in our built environment, clean energy technologies, where all the money, the billions of dollars that folks say exist, how do we turn that into something accessible, beneficial, something that engages community in a positive way. And I'm going to tell you, so I'm going to go off script a little bit. I did have prepared remarks. Some of you who know me know I never stick to them, so that's a thing. But I want to just backtrack a little bit to when I was at the state. And the work on climate that I did there, was a dream job for me. I'm a complete data nerd, and so figuring out decarbonization pathways, how we get businesses and stakeholders all on the same path and what that looks like, that was the best puzzle I've ever had to try to solve. But while I was doing that and busy being a data nerd, busy being a methodologist, I got challenged. I got challenged by my own community, and I got challenged by communities around the state. So I'm gonna be real with y'all. I got challenged for not talking about equity and not saying how the work that we were doing at the state was gonna help community. And if you've ever met any of my relatives or cousins who will just call you, I don't know if you guys have family like that, but they said, what the hell does this have to do with me? And how are you going to help us? They reminded me that I am from a community in Kalamazoo that is an environmental justice community. And how am I weaving that in? So when I got challenged, I had to do a couple things. One, I had to become a more authentic version of myself. Some of us, we have our professional selves. We show up at work, we're really friendly, and we have our work voices and our work masks. I had that mask, and I had to rip that thing off and get real and reintroduce who I was, and then try to braid in my upbringing, the values I had, the experiences I knew people were going through. I had to look at my community in Comstock, Michigan, that is 98% white and 70% below the poverty line. I had to look at my friends who I grew up with who could not find jobs. I had to take all of this. I had to take the Black community that I was born in. I had to take the Native communities that my cousins were in. And I tried to think about this. What does this all mean? And how do I think about climate and decarbonization in our built environment while weaving that in? I had no clue, right? So I took what I learned as an evaluation methodologist and started to create some nerdy rubrics. Telling you all that to say, in lieu of providing my prepared remarks, I'm going to do a little bit of story time to take you back before, and I'm trying to tell you a good story because I'm always amazed by the power of a good story. Now, before I was Dr. Brandy Brown, I was Brandy Pratt, a single mother of 2 kids. One was still in my belly, about, maybe at this time, about 6 months along. And I moved back to Michigan to be closer to my family because I couldn't imagine myself raising 2 kids in Washington, D.C. Just the thought of putting them on the metro to go to school, freaked me out. So I moved back to Kalamazoo, where I'm related to everyone, and knew all the teachers and everyone to have that sense of safety. One thing I did not anticipate was that the education I gained up to a master's level would not help me find a job to feed these kids. I came back to Michigan, could not find work that would allow me to both feed my young family and put a roof over our heads. So that kind of put me up Schitt's Creek, right? And I spent days in and out of different offices after, maybe 7 months of finding nothing and not being able to generate enough work on my own. Many days in the Michigan Works office saying, somebody find me a job, somebody help me. I have my resume, I want work. I sent out 1 million resumes, ended up having to be on food stamps. Now, this is 15 years from now, right? So just was struggling, not able to find work. Now, let me tell you a little bit of how I got out of that hole. I didn't do it by myself. I had a special needs child on oxygen in a breathing tube, and it was diagnosed with CP, so tons of therapy and doctor's appointments and stuff. And it complicated my path to a consistent income. The only way I was able to find my way out of it is because I had privilege. I came from a family, I got an uncle who just had a justice center named after him. I came from a pretty educated family who was able to tell me, hey, you know what, by golly, you sound like an evaluator, you're always asking annoying questions and getting, to the heart of the matter. There's actually a really good evaluation program at Western Michigan University. You should go talk to them. So that's the first step. I had resources, I had access to information for people to help me. 2, I walk into Western, didn't know what the hell I was doing, find the office, and I meet the head of the program at the time, Dr. Michael Scriven. And he spent about 2 hours interviewing me to see if he even wanted me in the program, what I thought, what qualifications I had. He was pretty impressed because here I am, 6 months pregnant. I got 1 kid in a little wrap thing with oxygen and feeding tube, if you guys ever seen. So I am like hustling, like, how do I get in this program? Somebody told me I should be here. What is it? And by the end of that meeting, he said, here's an application. The program starts in 3 weeks. If we're impressed enough, we'll let you in. So I applied to this program, and then Dr. Michael Scriven already, Dr. Daniel Stuffelbeam, and Dr. Chris Corin really helped me find access to opportunity. There was a Gilmore Fellowship that would pay me to go to school. There was other resources. But these 3 guys who didn't know me from anybody were able to give me more access to more information. Not only if you measure up, we'll let you in the program, but this is how you complete the program. It took me probably 5 years to complete that program, working whatever job I could. I worked, had a fellowship, did everything I could to get through that program. And while I got through that program, I had offered to me what is akin to wraparound services. So we all maybe have heard of wraparound services where you may provide childcare, food, vouchers, transportation. That is what these 3 guys gave me. They gave me an office where I could set up a playpen and plop my kids in. I could go to class and I could bring my kids. Though you see videos of professors holding your children, that was those 5 years. While I'm doing advanced statistics, I had wraparound services in that. And that is the only reason that I'm in clean energy right now. Now, when we think about going back to my time at the state, one of the things that freaked us out of saying, okay, we're going to go for these climate goals, we're going to go for working on our built environment, was who is going to do the work? We already know there's a disconnect in our industry of who's doing the work, who has access to do the work, who has knowledge to do the work. There's an example I give, and I've given many times before, where I was in one of those bougie rooms somewhere where you're planning world energy policy, and someone said, oh, we have Honeywell at the table, we have Trane at the table, and we're just gonna train all contractors to do X, Y, Z. And I look at them and I'm like, how is that that doesn't work. It hasn't worked in the past to get every community prepared for what our climate future is. It doesn't work for every building because in my house, in my community, it's my Uncle Brian who does all this work. And if you haven't checked in with Uncle Brian, who got his training in the 1970s, guess what? My family and my community does not have access to this. So I'm sharing all of those things to then tell you a little bit about Walker Miller Energy Services' approach to what Sine said should be career development, right? So career development in the clean energy space needs to take into account that most of the time nobody knows what we're talking about when we're talking about clean energy. They may recognize a solar panel, they may recognize a wind turbine. We do not know. At the elementary level, we do not know how our energy is flowing through a building and why that's important. We may kind of talk about it, but there's a lot of very important key things, as you all know, that need to happen in our built environment for it to be green. So how do we make that sexy? How do we invite people in? Well, the first thing is all of us are advocates and all of us are spokespeople. So anybody you meet on the street, I don't care where, you need to pull them in now. Anybody who doesn't know where or how they fit, you draw the pathway to how they fit. Okay, so that's the first thing Walker Miller Energy Services does. If anybody has met Carla Walker Miller, oh my gosh, she will recruit, she will sell fish to, or sell water to a fish, but she will recruit everybody and their mama into clean energy to get this job done. And that is the approach that we have no matter what community we are serving. We started out in Detroit 20 plus years ago, primarily serving communities of color for energy efficiency programs. We have grown to serve Philly, rural Arkansas, St. Louis, Chicago, Atlanta. We're a lot of places now. Our approach in each place is the same. No matter the demographics of the community, we go first to learn who the community is. What do they look like? What language are they speaking? What is important to them? Then we hire from the community. We teach them everything we know. And then we turn them into advocates to recruit more people. That is buy-in, right? That's also going to, beyond access, it's going to benefits. So ensuring that benefits of all of the clean energy work that we are doing are accrued in the communities we are working with is key. So the benefits, a lot of times, are dollars, and the dollars aren't just rebates. They're also in those jobs. They're also in jobs that can support families. Oftentimes, those are not accessible. Just like my story, many people who come to Walker Miller come through our cohort training programs, whether it's BPI certification, EVSE installation, solar installation, and now we're doing advanced battery manufacturing. Many of them have no clue this world exists. And then sometimes the training that we offer, just like some of my advanced statistics classes, make no sense to folks if they're trying to digest it quickly, if they're trying to digest it in a way that will ensure that they are successful when they get into our clean energy economy, when they get into our buildings so that they can too shine and set up their own businesses later. So what we do, and I'm gonna give you the secret sauce, we're always thinking about equity, which, in my nerdy breakdown is access, benefits, participation, engagement, and representativeness. We're thinking about that, but then we're also linking people directly to the opportunity. So the same opportunity we see, if somebody's telling me there's $16 billion in X, we are taking that information right from us and we're giving that to the community. We're taking those future business owners and we're ensuring that they have all of the tools from understanding what our ecosystem looks like. If you want to be a contractor and operate a program, who are the people you need to talk to? How do you get your business license? If they are a veteran, minority, disabled, how to get that certification? We are walking them through insurance. We are helping them manage their books. We are giving them the wraparound services to ensure their success. Because if they do not have their success, and this is key for us, we want to catalyze this clean energy ecosystem. No one can own it all. It is key for us that we create as many people who know how to do a good job and know how to serve their communities. Case in point, there was a recent conversation about some, potential statewide programs here in Michigan. And folks are interested in us doing the work. And our response is, that sounds great. What do the communities want there? There was someone trying to recruit us to serve communities in the UP, and we said, that sounds great. However, there are tons of communities in the UP that we could help businesses that are there grow. So what does it look like for us to catalyze their growth? What does it look like for us to say, hey, this historic Finnish community in the UP, we can share what we're doing in Detroit there. We can share what we're doing in rural Arkansas there. So I'm sharing all that with you to say, workforce, career development, thank you, Sini, career development needs to ensure that we are bringing everyone along. And that is not only a self-check on us, but it is a message that we need to be pushing out, pouring out, because if we miss one community here, one community there, there's the potential to recreate some of the inequities that we created in the Industrial Revolution, right? We don't need to do that again. We don't need to have pockets of energy burden in the have-nots. And if we do, if we create those pockets, we are not achieving our climate goals, okay? So I know I didn't go 30 minutes, but I just wanted to share, the linkages I see between a lot of the cohorts that we serve at Walker Miller Energy Services and my own journey, why it's important for me and many others that as we are pushing forward for decarbonization, that we are thinking, who is not in the room? Who are we missing? Who needs to be there, and how do we get them here? What resources do we need? Achieving that is only done collectively and collaboratively. So I am looking forward to working with all of you in the future to make sure that we're successful. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kayla Snyder, and I'm the program manager here at USGBC West Michigan. And tonight, I have the honor of presenting our Leadership Awards for 2023. But before I get started with that, I want to say another thank you to Alison and Dr. Brown for your inspiring and informative talks this evening. I think I can speak for everyone here that we've all learned a lot from listening to the two of you. Some things I know I'm taking with me are thinking about increase in access, engaging community, what equity means to all of us, and also learning from Dr. Brown. Also, how to respond when challenged. I think that one really struck a chord with me. Also, when Alison said, with great power comes, I said to myself, great responsibility. So for all the other nerds out there, I see you. But she also talked about a movie, so I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna get up here and say that, but she talked about Harry Potter, so I'm going Marvel. But Dr. Brown also talked about good stories, and I'm so excited to share with you all the great stories that we have this evening and all of our awardees. So without further ado, we have 7 awards to hand out and are also recognizing 2nd and 3rd place in the Innovative Project category. These projects, organizations, and people have dedicated time to our nonprofit, have participated in our pilots and programs. Gail, where are you at? She's always in our pilots, and she knows how those go. And all of you are very strong advocates and have been instrumental in furthering the mission of our organization. To kick off the award ceremony, we are starting with the Innovative Project Award, designed to honor projects that break the mold of standard building construction, design, and operations. This year, we had 9 projects that were voted on by the board of directors and staff, and each project included sustainable building design and showed great innovation. It has been exciting to see the developments in efficiency and electrification and the commitments to healthy buildings, not only in commercial, but residential spaces. We will be giving time to 2nd and 3rd place to stand at their table and be recognized, and 1st place will come up to stage to accept their award, as well as take a picture and have time at the mic if they so choose. And that goes for the same for other awardees this evening. So in 3rd place for the Innovative Project category, we are recognizing Abueva Builders for the Lakeside Net Zero Passive House project. This groundbreaking project redefines modern living with a commitment to environmental responsibility. The decision to pursue a net zero home was driven by the challenges of upgrading the efficiency of a 1950s era house, a passion for the environment, and extensive research. This home generates all the renewable energy on site to power itself year-round and includes a cutting-edge battery backup storage system. The The home also boasts an all-electric design, including a custom ducted mini-split heat pump system, coupled with a ground loop heat exchanger. This system ensures year-round comfort while drastically reducing energy consumption and carbon emissions. The team was dedicated to responsible sourcing and repurposing of materials. Salvaged wood from the previous residence was used throughout the home, as well as harvested lumber from the site itself. The lakeside passive house lives up to its name by providing views of the nearby lake from almost every area of the home. This project has earned prestigious certifications as Michigan's first certified net zero passive house, achieving FIAS Plus 2018, FIAS Plus Source Zero, and apparently, as of today, was certified as LEED Platinum. So congratulations to Abueva Builders and the entire team. Please stand to be recognized. And in second place, we are recognizing Ford Field for their UV light system project with Citra Tech and Lawrence Tech University. The goal of this project was to prove the capabilities of a properly designed UV light system, particularly in the application of air handling units. Coils can visibly look clean, but biofilm growth is not visible as it is microscopic. Condensation on cooling coils increases particulate fouling, which can result in a significant loss in energy efficiency. With this project, the team sought to establish the ability of UV light to clean the cooling coil, reduce energy consumption, and that the amount of energy savings is related to average UV intensity delivered to the coil. There are a lot more nerdy facts in this blog as well, so I'm going to talk about the blogs later, but if you want to dive into more statistics, they're all there. Their project results support this as they saw an 18% increase in heat conductance capacity. This was a very high increase, signifying that the energy savings would be significant. The team installed various sensors to measure temperature, humidity, air velocity, pressure differentials, and fan energy usage. And the fan energy usage is yet to be calculated, which will further add to those energy savings. Lawrence Tech University's research team is projecting what the energy savings would be if all air handling units were to be retrofitted with UV, as this would drive savings at the chiller level. The energy savings component provides a monetary payback to the facility, making this investment attractive. This project has benefited Ford Field, has the potential for future retrofits, helps reduce load on the electric grid, reduces carbon, eliminates water and chemical use in the cleaning process, and improves indoor air quality. Congratulations to Ford Field and all of those involved in this project. Please stand to be recognized. All right, and in first place, we have John Ball Zoo, which this project gained a lot of attention this summer, and I'm sure some of you have even visited this exhibit. I know I did, and I was amazed by it. We are excited to award John Ball Zoo as our first place winner for their Pygmy Hippo Habitat project. The Pygmy Hippo Habitat opened its doors to visitors in June of 2023, helping the zoo to reach a record attendance of over 700,000 guests. The project achieved the Living Building Challenge Materials Pedal, which brought a level of innovation and sustainability that not only met but exceeded global regenerative design standards. They achieved this milestone while staying within the nonprofit's allocated budget. I'm sure we all know how easy that is. The interdisciplinary team acted as an ecosystem of expertise that worked in real time to bring the best sustainable solutions and practices to the table, setting a new benchmark in sustainable architecture for the region. Key project outcomes include over 95% of demolition and construction waste was diverted from the landfill, over 60% of materials used were sourced within 200 miles of the project site, 95% of the materials used on the project are Red List compliant. Sorry, I know I have a slide on this. The project is all electric, utilizing ground source heat pumps to reduce energy use intensity by over 30%. A 110 kilowatt solar array provides more than half of the project's power needs. And combined, the project uses 70% less water than similar exhibit habitats. Go back to these. Okay, I don't know where Allie went. The team's focus on early planning and budget-conscious design eliminated the need for expensive, last-minute changes. This project stands as a testimony to what can be achieved when innovation, sustainability, and community vibrancy come together in harmonious synergy, which is why it has inspired other zoo habitats across the country. Congratulations to John Ball Zoo and everyone involved in this project. Please come up to the stage to accept your award.
Sure, I'll say something. We've been all talking about different things for all of us people, right? But what we do at the zoo is to save wildlife from extinction. It's 40% of all the material that's taken out of the earth every year goes into the built environment. So how we do and choose to use water wisely, to use materials, to say no to different practices, really goes to impact the different wildlife habitat that's being lost in different parts of the world. Again, this was a great team effort. I appreciate Caller's partners and some of their movement to help us with this whole process. Wolverine Building did a phenomenal job in keeping us in line. I mean, and trying to keep me in line is not very easily sometimes on that. And then we got Tower Pinkster helped out with projects on it, and a lot of different subcontractors to make this all possible. So thank you to USGBC, and we appreciate it. And come out to the zoo, and if you want to see something really cool, we really do pygmy hippo poop pretty cool, okay? So we can handle that stuff pretty fun. So if you want to come see that, come see me. We'll take you down to the basement, show you. We take care of that. So thank you.
Next up, we have the Certified Green Building Awards, which recognize exemplary building projects that received high-performance certifications. This year, we are awarding projects in 3 categories: commercial, multifamily, and education. And first up, we have the commercial part of this. So the Certified Green Building Award for commercial is going to Perigo this year for achieving LEED Gold at their North American headquarters project in Grand Rapids. Perigo is a leading provider of consumer self-care products and over-the-counter health and wellness solutions. The organization has had a long presence in West Michigan with more than 4,000 employees at the facilities in Allegan and Holland. Perigo sought to establish a new North American headquarters in Grand Rapids at the Michigan State University Innovation Park, a hub of research and healthcare organizations anchoring the medical mile, which I know most of you are from Grand Rapids, but if you're not, it's just down the street, and you can see it if you'd like. Embracing the client's mission of self-care and wellness, this tenant build-out emphasizes movement and interaction, with a spectrum of adaptable spaces that support a diversity of work styles. The success of the project itself required skilled communication and collaboration from all of those involved. The company plans to spend $44.8 million on a 15-year lease of the top 3 floors of the 10-story building. The space is home to top-level employees within Perigo's consumer self-care division, including positions in marketing, sales, finance, and research and development. The 63,500 square foot space achieves the client's goals of consolidating functions, supporting cross-functional collaboration, and engaging its staff, all while upholding responsible high-end design. Perigo has a company-wide commitment to sustainability and has set initiatives to achieve their goals. The LEED Gold certification exemplifies this commitment. Congratulations to Perigo. Please come up to the stage.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for this award. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be in Grand Rapids. For those of you who don't know, Perrigo has been around since 1887, founded in Allegan, Michigan. It's only been in the last few years that we've opened up this Grand Rapids headquarters for wanting to get more of a presence in here. So I got to tell you, every time I ride down 196, A, I make sure none of the lights are on if it's night. Okay? As Jim knows, he's had a few emails from me on that already. But B, I'm proud to see Perrigo's name on the Grand Rapids skyline. So thank you, everybody.
The Certified Green Building Award winner for multifamily goes to the LEED Gold Certified Antoine Court Apartment Complex. This project is a 50-unit affordable housing complex located in Grand Rapids on South Division Avenue. 18 of the units are dedicated to those who meet the criteria for permanent supportive housing, helping to support those who are unhoused. The complex was designed specifically for veterans and people with disabilities. The affordable one-bedrooms all meet accessibility standards and include central air conditioning, washer and dryer units, free internet access, and on-site Housing Commission resident services. Antoine Court is also located right next to Covenant House School and Camp Howe Court, another of the Grand Rapids Housing Commission's low-income housing developments. Not only is accessibility an important factor to the tenants, but the community plays a big role in this space. Events include partnerships with local businesses and organizations, as well as events led by the tenants. Many tenants express that the community they've found at Antoine Court is unlike anywhere else. The complex is located next to a park, is on a major public transportation line, and has many amenities within walking distance of the building location. Efficiency measures involved in this development include occupancy sensors for light control in community spaces, offices, and apartments, low-flow lavatory faucets and shower fixtures, WaterSense labeled toilet fixtures, and Energy Star appliances. Although solar was not included in the original construction, the building was designed and conducted to be solar ready. The Grand Rapids Housing Commission continues to pursue projects that demonstrate they are an active partner in the effort to reduce the impact of energy consumption in the fight to combat the continued acceleration of climate change. Congratulations to the Grand Rapids Housing Commission. Please come up to the stage.
So just a couple quick comments. Thankful for the dedication of staff who pursued this year after year after year and finally got Michigan tax credit funding. Through an equity lens, it's really important for us to be recognized based on the populations that we serve, right? We're serving low-income households who also deserve all of those things related to energy efficiencies and things like that. The other unique thing about this property, it's not a unique thing, but it opened in November 2021. So most of the construction occurred during the pandemic. So lots of challenges that we had to overcome, but not as many as what you might think given supply chain issues and things like that. So we're thankful as well to our building partners. So again, thank you guys.
The Certified Green Building Award for Education is going to West Ottawa Public Schools this year for their Energy Star certified buildings. Their first Energy Star certified property was in 2016, and as of today, they have certified 9 buildings, which includes 7 elementary schools, the high school, and 1 administrative building. West Ottawa made a commitment in the 2014 and 2019 bonds to upgrade facility infrastructure. Specifically, they looked at upgrades to boiler and hydronic pumps, the building management system, HVAC equipment, LED lighting, lighting controls, roofing, windows and doors, and potable water. So like everything in the building, you know. Through these enhancements, West Ottawa Public Schools has been able to get aggressive with their district-wide scheduling and set points, maintaining that balance of classroom comfort while remaining efficient. Tom Swiftney, the Director of Facilities, stated, "Sustainability and efficiency mean everything to West Ottawa." They have been working with Consumers Energy over the years to certify these projects. And when asked about their goals for the future, Swiftney stated that their main goal is to keep using tax dollars wisely on capital projects and operations while optimizing efficiency and maximizing return on investment for those projects. Not only are they receiving this award tonight, but in 2019, they were awarded at the Michigan Battle of the Buildings competition for their 25.9% reduction in energy usage at their Great Lakes Elementary School. It is clear that they are walking the talk and are making great strides in energy efficiency in their buildings. These savings not only result in a lower carbon footprint, but a direct impact on student achievement with dollars put back into the classroom. And West Ottawa, unfortunately, could not be here tonight, so we have Joshua Cockfield, who is from Consumers Energy, who we mentioned earlier, who has been instrumental in helping us benchmark a lot of your buildings. And so we have Joshua coming up to accept the award on their behalf. And yeah, please welcome him to the stage.
Well, I didn't know I was going to be speaking tonight, so I don't have any prepared comments. I will say that both working with everybody here through the USGBC, Consumers Energy, and I know that Tom and his team has worked incredibly hard and is extremely passionate about energy savings and doing whatever they can to give back to their community and to make sure that their children have the best education, the best advantages that they possibly can, because those dollars that are being saved from energy efficiency can then be used to further their education. So thank you again, incredible honor to be up here to accept this award for them. And I look forward to hopefully working with all of you guys this coming year and maybe see you guys again soon. But thank you, incredible honor.
The Green Schools Champion Award recognizes exemplary people and projects that have made contributions to achieving healthy, energy-efficient buildings and sustainability education in the state of Michigan. This year's Green Schools Champion is Avril Weirs for her environmental and sustainable studies work at Ottawa Area ISD. After earning her bachelor's degree in biology from Hope College, Avril moved to Fairbanks, Alaska to pursue her Master's of Science in Outdoor and Environmental Education from Alaska Pacific University. In 2019, after moving back to the West Michigan area, Avril earned her certificate in career development and training from Western Michigan University. A lot of stuff about Western today, so let's give it up for Western real quick, because they've gotten a lot of praise. Today, Avril works as the Environmental Field Studies CTE instructor at Ottawa Area ISD. Avril fell in love with environmental education after spending 2 summers at the University of Michigan Biological Station in Pellston, Michigan. And I want to take a second to say that I have 2 tattoos because I went to the Michigan Biological Station. If you've never been there, it's amazing. It was life-changing for me, and obviously it was life-changing for Avril as well. I wish I could say the same, but I have the 2 tattoos to, you know. The biostation, for those of you who don't know, gives students hands-on experience outdoors and is what pushed her to pursue her master's in outdoor and environmental education so that she could get more students to experience science outdoors. Avril is passionate about teaching students how they can be more sustainable in their daily lives and shows them how to appreciate nature in their own backyard. She uses an interdisciplinary approach in her teaching, having the students read articles, collect and analyze data, keep nature journals, and work on projects with modules. Through this approach, they have connected with industry partners, and some have even implemented some of the students' solutions. Since we met Avril, it has been clear that her passion for the environment and teaching shines brightly in her work. When I visited her classroom, her students were engaged, they asked good questions, and seemed genuinely interested in their next assignment, which was to build a sustainable city. That project was an opportunity for students to explore human impacts on the environment by creating a community for the future. Through this project, students had to work through issues of environmental justice and equity. They got to research innovative solutions to environmental problems, and they came together to build a virtual model of their city to share with industry partners. Avril looks forward to expanding this project this year and eventually hopes to host a competition for high schoolers across Ottawa County to participate. Thank you, Avril, for your truly important work that you are doing. The kids are so lucky to have a teacher as passionate and caring as you, and thank you for letting us be a part of your journey. So please give a hand to Avril.
Well, I have to give a huge thank you to Kayla and Allie, who answered an email from a complete stranger and actually chose to come and spend several days with a bunch of Shirley high schoolers. It's not for everybody, I can attest to that. So thank you, thank you, thank you for coming out and spending time with our students. Beyond just the wealth of knowledge that Kayla and Allie provided for my students, one of the best gifts that they gave my students was hope. It's easy when you turn on the news today to get lost in a pit of despair, wondering like what's going to happen with the climate changing, how can we answer all of the equitable problems that we have in our communities. And being able to interact with the U.S. Green Building Council just showed our students what is happening here in West Michigan. And you all are part of this group of people who are really visionary and answering the call for a better world. So thank you for the work that you all do. Our students see you, they appreciate you. Thank you for making a better world for them.
Okay, as we've mentioned, we have former Mayor George Hartwell here with us today, and now it is my honor to give praise to Mr. Hartwell. So this year's 2030 Leadership Award recognizes organizations and individuals that have taken the initiative to decarbonize Grand Rapids and make strides toward global climate goals. And this year, we are awarding former Mayor George Hartwell for his outstanding contributions to sustainable efforts within the city of Grand Rapids and beyond. For those of you who do not know, Mr. Hartwell served as mayor of Grand Rapids for 12 years, from 2004 to 2016, and for 8 years as city commissioner before that. During his service, the city achieved many sustainable victories, as Allison mentioned, but I'm going to share a few. The complete separation of storm and wastewater sewers and almost total elimination of untreated discharges to the river, created an Office of Sustainability, which gave us the lovely Alison Sutter and Jen and Annabelle, who is not here tonight, adopted renewable energy goals and a 5-year sustainability plan, and launched the Vital Streets campaign. In 2015, there was a push to get a 2030 district established in Grand Rapids. After hearing about the 2030 goals, Mr. Hartwell knew they paired well with the sustainability goals of the city. Mr. Hartwell was one of the instrumental people in getting the Grand Rapids 2030 district launched. The relationship that was built between local government, utilities, building owners, and community stakeholders made a strong foundation for our district's success. Those relationships have also been key to our work with the Zero Cities Project and EH0, which was mentioned before. Our team is grateful for his determination, support, and leadership for this effort. While there are many successes to list, Mr. Hartwell has been very clear about the work remaining in social equity, environmental justice, and educational opportunities for the youth. In every role Mr. Hartwell takes on, sustainability is the goal. He currently sits on the board at Fair State University and pushed for them to adopt sustainability as one of its 4 planning pillars for the upcoming campus master plan. He also urged the board to adopt a LEED requirement for every new or renovated building, which was adopted. Looking forward, Mr. Hartwell stated that he is excited to see the progress of the solar development project at Butterworth Landfill and gave praise to everything Alison and her team in the Office of Sustainability have done thus far. He is also encouraged that his grandson, Micah, who is here with us this evening, is working as an intern in Alison's office. He stated that Micah, whose degree from Northern Michigan University in environmental studies with an emphasis in renewable energy, is emblematic of the next generation dedicated to this work, and that Micah, Alison, and all of you in this room who work in this field are the future. When we asked Mr. Hartwell to accept this award, he insisted that we give it to a younger person, and we insisted that he accept it. His ability to lift up and inspire others is something that we can all take with us as a reminder of what we can accomplish together. Thank you for all of your hard work and congratulations on a lifetime of achievements. Please help me in welcoming Mr. Hartwell to the stage.
Well, it's an honor to receive this, and I thank you, and to hear the more than generous comments, some of which were true, from Kayla and from Alison and from Sherry. Thank you, but in truth, more than honor, I'm humbled by this. Because the success of the 2030 district and the success of USGBC in West Michigan has little or nothing to do with me. It really is all about you and what you're doing each and every day in your professions and in your personal lives to bring about a new and cleaner energy future for us right here in this place we love and live in. And it's about the work that the city is doing. Thank you, Alison. What Alison and Mayor Bliss have done to take the sort of nascent work that we did during my tenure and elevate it to a level that makes it a model for the whole country is really quite remarkable. So thank you. Thank you for the honor. Thank you all for what you do each and every day. I'm very, very grateful.
Okay, last and certainly not least, we present our first ever Legacy Award, which recognizes individuals for their critical work within their community, their character and reputation they've built in their community as a leader for a sustainable future are notable, and their accomplishments and actions resonate with the people around them. This year, we are thrilled to be awarding Gail DeBryan for her unwavering commitment to our community and sustainability. Gail is a professor and sustainability officer at Kendall College of Art and Design. at Ferris State University. In addition to teaching, she is on KCAD's planning team for the Weggy Prize and Weggy Prize High School Summer Collaborative Studio. Gail has been recognized with multiple awards for her work in the community, including the West Michigan Sustainable Hall of Fame, the Dave and Carol Van Andel Leadership Award, and tonight, the first ever USGBC West Michigan Legacy Award. Since 1999, she has been working collaboratively with the community and pushing the envelope when it comes to design practices. As one of the founding members of the USGBC West Michigan, she has stuck with us as we try new things, willingly participates in those pilots that I mentioned, and promotes our mission to those around her. Gail has long recognized the integrative, cross-disciplinary, collaborative effort required to achieve success. Her community work has evolved to a deeper focus in climate justice and social equity. As the Community Sustainability Partnership evolved to the Community Collaboration on Climate Change, she has engaged in the necessary work to make change happen. When asked if there is a common theme between sustainability and design in our community, she responded that we are all interconnected. Grand Rapids and West Michigan is uniquely practiced in sustainable design. We cooperate across businesses, government, municipalities, and academia to better our best. It behooves us to share our learnings so that together we can succeed faster. We have a gift of connectedness. Gail has an incredible ability to push those around her to do better and to show us that we are better together. Please help me in congratulating Gail.
Wow, this is amazing. And the side joke is when they sent me the invitation to receive this award, I replied with, "Are you sure?" Because you, like George said, are my mentors. So many of you taught me and showed me the way and encouraged me to be the person who tries stuff and asks forgiveness. And a shout out to my colleagues and my friends from Kendall College of Art and Design, Ferris State University, Chair McCracken, Lee Davis, who have been a part of this journey with me and have been so supportive of letting design lead toward a better world. Thank you all so very much.
Okay, in closing, what I learned from each awardee this evening is that we each have something we are passionate about, and when we let it show, great things can happen. There is clear urgency to reach our goals, but there is also space to be innovative, and most importantly, a need to be collaborative. What I admire most about the people in this room, as stated many times before, is the willingness to share ideas and create together, and the constant giving of credit to those around you. We've still got work to do, but I know we all have it in us to get it done. Thank you all for being here with us tonight. I know many of you in this room had a hand in the awarded projects, and we didn't want to leave anyone out through giving credit on stage, but we did capture that in the blogs that Allie wrote and spent a lot of time on, so I really encourage you all to check those out. I believe that they will be posted later this week. And I know Wendy has a few more things to say, so let's give all of our awardees one more round of applause, please.
Things down here that weren't there before. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Kayla. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, and thank you to our awardees again. Thank you so much. It was really inspirational hearing all your stories. So now that we've come to the conclusion of our event this evening, I wanted to say a few words of thanks before we go. As our evening comes to a close, we do find ourselves, and I know I do, filled with gratitude and appreciation to each and every one of you who contributed to the success of the event this year, whether you were an awardee, an attendee, a sponsor, a speaker. Your presence and contribution have truly made this evening special and possible. To our sponsors, your commitment to improving the built environment is not only evident in your financial support, but also in the shared values we champion. Your partnership goes beyond the event, contributing to the ongoing work we do in making a positive impact in our communities. To our members that are with us this evening, we thank you for your ongoing support. Your dedication to our mission fuels our collective efforts and inspires us to reach new heights. To learn more about membership, please take one of those little cards on your table with you this evening. Thank you once again for being a part of this event. And I want to say here's to the continued success of our shared journey towards improving the quality of life through the transformation of the built environment. So safe travels as you go on your way home this evening to each and every one of you. A couple little housekeeping things. Please drop your name tag off at the little boxes on the registration table as you go. And again, we hope to see you at our May event. And thank you once again, and have a wonderful evening.